So last night, the main water line that comes into the house busted. If you've been watching the news at all, the Southeast, we've been having some record low temperatures. It got down to like 5 or 6 degrees Fahrenheit here in Georgia. I've grown up here, lived in the South all my life. I've never, ever seen temperatures like that. And being a Southern boy, I didn't know what to do. So my pipes froze. They froze for 3 days over Christmas. And yesterday it unfroze and burst and started flooding the basement. Now it's about as good as a situation as it could be. I was actually here when it burst, and I was able to get it shut off and get it contained quickly. So the majority of the flooding was basically just in our storage area, and luckily not in the studio, or well, what will be the studio, which was really encouraging. I'm just gonna be frank with you guys. This is the most recent in what has been a string of just difficult situation after difficult situation here at the past few months. There's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. And this is not a woe is me video. This is not me complaining. This is not me saying I'm quitting YouTube or anything like that. I gotta vent, man. So today is December 27th. New Year's Day will be my 5-year anniversary of being a YouTuber. 5 years ago on New Year's Eve, we were hanging out with our best friends, Philip Conrad and Shay from Design by Shay. And we were living in Decatur, Georgia at the time. And we were just kind of talking about New Year's resolutions. And at the time, I had sort of been kicking around this idea of wanting to start a YouTube channel for the better part of a year. So my resolution for 2018 was to reach 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, at the time when I said that out loud in front of my wife and our 2 best friends, I felt like a complete moron. I felt that it was so beyond the realm of possibilities that I was just being overly ambitious. But at the end of that year, at the end of 2018, I had reached just shy of 33,000 or 30,000 subscribers, something like that. Now, over the last 5 years, this channel has grown and YouTube has become something that I never could have envisioned it being. First of all, this was not my intention. I didn't start off a YouTube channel with the intent of reaching 500,000 subscribers. I didn't even think I could reach 10,000 subscribers. But I knew at the time, in 2018, I had this desire and this drive. I wanted to make something, and I wanted to have my name on something. I wanted to own something, because at that time, I had been playing music and I had found success as a working guitar player. I wasn't out there, playing with top name acts, but I was working and I was earning a living, and I got to travel and tour the world and do some really cool stuff. But I was always dissatisfied with it. And looking back, I realized it's because ever since the beginning, I wanted to make stuff. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to have a voice, and I wanted to own it. I wanted my name to be on it. And as a hired gun touring guitar player, that's just not the gig. And I wanted to teach people. I wanted to make YouTube videos that I wish I could have watched when I was 13 or 14 years old, figuring out how to play guitar in the early 2000s. And that still is the core of my channel. That's what I want these videos to do. That's what I want this video to do. And over the last few months, I've gotten to a point where I've sort of stood up and looked around and thought, holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like the dog that caught the car. It's now a business. This is an actual business, which I don't know how to run a business. I don't have a college degree. I didn't study this stuff in school. They didn't teach us anything about money or finances or business or entrepreneurship or investing or taxes or payroll or any of that stuff when I was growing up in public school in Georgia. And I think that's one of the many ways that the public education system failed me and my peers of the time, but that's a whole other thing. It's the same thing with the studio build. I'm not a successful producer. I'm not a successful songwriter. I'm not a recording artist. I'm a guitar player. And yeah, I've done my fair bit of session work, and, I interned at a studio for years, and I love that stuff. But where I'm at in my career does not justify building a recording studio like I am. But I'm doing it because there's something in my gut that's telling me that this is the right move. This is what you want to do. And I'm listening to that. But the project's already taken 3 times longer than I thought it would take. It's already cost close to, twice what I thought it was going to cost. And we're not even realistically halfway done. Right now, I feel like that recording studio is the dumbest idea I've ever had. I'm questioning myself and my judgment every single time I walk down into the basement. This is the first house we ever bought, and the first thing I did was rip apart the basement and do a bunch of structural work to the house, and on the hopes on this idea that I want to have a recording studio because of these weird ambitions and goals that I have. It's sort of becoming a lot. And truth be told, I've been losing quite a bit of sleep over all this stuff recently. There's been a ton of anxiety and a ton of stress around the studio build and around, YouTube and around, the being an employer and being a business owner. I mean, Jesus, the way I see myself is I'm just a guitar player. I'm an above average, mediocre guitar player who went from being a hired gun playing, 100 plus shows a year touring to now all of a sudden being like a business owner, a YouTube creator, a producer, a editor, a video director, a business manager, an employer, a project manager. Like, I've taken on all these roles that, dude, I don't like who, and don't get me wrong. I want to stop here and point out, like, I'm not complaining. This is incredible. Like, what I get to do for my job is like fairy tale shit. I make a living playing with guitars and making music and playing with gear and teaching people and talking to incredible people, getting to know idols of mine. The enormity of all this is absolutely not lost on me. And even the struggles that we've been dealing with over the last few months, like the water issue, it could be way, way worse. It can always be worse. And I don't want to come across as like, oh, woe is me. But this is just where I'm at the moment. I think what's happened is, over the last 6 months or so, that stress and that tension, that imposter syndrome, and the fact that I've become the dog that caught the car has sort of caused me to start second guessing a lot of stuff. And it's caused me to start second guessing my gut and my intuition, which, to be fair, up until this point has been pretty good. When I started making YouTube videos, it was at the detriment of my income. I was spending more time focusing on this than I was focusing on getting other gigs. Because keep in mind, the gig I was on in Nashville had just sort of dissolved and it was ambiguous as to whether or not it was going to keep going. The logical thing to have done in 2018 would have been to spend more time in Nashville hustling to land that next gig, to go, find the next opportunity, which is what basically all my bandmates did. And they've all had massive success as touring hired gun musicians. And they're, as far as I can tell, incredibly happy. I mean, I'm happy for them. They've done so well and done some really cool shit since then. But it was my gut that told me, nope, stay home, screw around with this camera and these lights and figure out how to make videos. So I think the point that I'm trying to make is that this is how life goes. A lot of times you're not going to be ready for the situation that you're put in, and you just have to figure it out. And while right now the studio for me feels like too much, it feels like too big of an ask, and it feels like it's something I don't deserve, it'll be something that I figure out. I don't know what is going to come out of that studio. I don't know what I'm going to make. I have ideas. I know what I want to do right now, but the reality is, once we start working down there, even though it feels like the dumbest thing I've ever done and the dumbest idea I've ever had right now, my gut says that once we're down there and we're actually working and we're making stuff, it'll really pay off. So for me going into next year, I think that's my sort of word, is just trust your gut. Just get down and do the work and you'll figure it out. The only way that you learn how to do something is just to do it. In fact, my wife, Tilly, a little shameless plug here, is starting her own YouTube channel in 2023. She is an amazing photographer. She works primarily on film photography, and she's literally in the next room over there right now working on her second ever video. In talking with her about starting a YouTube channel, it took me back to where I was 5 years ago as a complete novice, not knowing anything about YouTube. And it helped me remember that the only way to grow and the only way to get somewhere, to reach your goals, is to put your head down and do the work consistently. Make the next video, write the next song, record the next guitar part, practice the next solo or scale or whatever it is that you have in your head, that little voice that's at the back of your head saying, I really want to do this. Pay attention to that, because that's your gut talking. At least it is for me. And just have confidence in the fact that none of us know what the hell we're doing, at least. And anyone who is, building something and trying to make their own way, we're all just figuring it out, man. Like, we're taking it one day at a time. And some days we do the right thing, we take the right step. And some days we take the completely wrong step. And some days You just can't take any steps. Some days you're just stuck in a bunch of quicksand. That was a terrible metaphor. So I hope you found this video useful. It was helpful for me to get it out. So thank you for sitting through my rambling. This is not typically the type of video that I make if you're new around here. But if you want to help the channel out, the best thing you can do right now is just subscribe. You know, I've got some subscriber goals that I want to hit next year. And I'm not making it up when I say the analytics say that over half of the people that watch this channel on a regular basis aren't subscribed. It really helps out when you click that red button. So thank you. My name is Rhett Shull. Thank you for watching. And remember, there is no plan